Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Movie Files. Elliot and Morgan here to talk Avengers Infinity War. So if you guys haven't already, check out our non-spoiler review. But as you can see from the title, this is a spoiler-filled discussion, more or less, and as well as a review. We'll give you a score and everything, but we really want to talk about the movie as well. So full warning, this is a spoiler video. We want to do this a week after the release so everyone can see it. If you haven't seen it by now, definitely don't watch this video. Watch our non-spoiler. But again, if you have seen it, this is a spoiler review. So I just want to jump into it. So again, I don't want to go too heavy on the storyline because again, if you guys seen it, we just want to discuss the movie. So starting off the beginning of this film, we see how badass Thanos is. So kind of talk about, well, before that, just the emotions leading up to the movie. I was just so geeked. Like my leg was shaking. The trailers, I just wanted the movie to get started. But starting off the movie, we just jumped right from Thor Ragnarok, where we kind of left off with Loki and Thor kind of talk about, oh, what's the worst that could happen? Then the worst that could happen is Thanos arrives. What was your initial reaction to seeing Thanos, seeing he has Thor defeated, Loki's, Idris Elba's characters down? What was your reaction to that first opening scene in the movie?
Sadness. Yeah. Just because Thor Ragnarok, although Asgard had been pretty much destroyed, it was like, okay, well, now we're going to start anew. And then basically every Asgardian that was on that plane. Well,
so the more I've been watching other people review the ship, they actually say, and you see in the movie too, Thanos, he doesn't destroy planets like the entirety. He chooses half of the people, like he'll leave half and kill the other half. So if you listen to the little beginning, Asgard's out there, refugees, half of the ship did get off. So that's another question I had was like Valkyrie and Korg and all that. But
but still, it's just like it's sad.
He's a force to reckon with.
And then I mean, of course, Loki dying, not dying, that was a bummer for me. Yeah. Just because I love Loki so much. So
yeah, for a while he was the best villain that we got in an MCU prior to some more recent villains. But
but I think, I mean, it just kind of sets you up for like, okay, well, this is pretty bad. How much worse can it get?
And to that point, I mean, we see, Thor's best friend die, the Idris Elba character. We see his brother die. But really the biggest thing for me in that opening scene was how powerful Thanos was. He handled the Hulk like he handled the Hulk as what the Hulk did to Loki in the first Avengers.
And at that point, he only had one stone.
Yeah, he had the power. Well, he had two. He had the Tesseract because Loki gave him the Tesseract. Well, actually, that was prior to that. He had the Power Stone.
He just had the Power Stone, which still, but it's like, Jesus. Like,
even without the Power Stone, he would have handled, he handled,
the one stone, it's like, holy crap,
so
this guy's crazy.
Yeah, going into this, you just know how of a force Thanos is. And then, again, he's just throwing Thor around. And then Loki, again, in Loki fashion, trying to be sneaky, trying to kill Thanos with his staff. You knew it wasn't going to turn out well for him. And he chokes him to death. I mean, it just showed that first scene really just kicks you in the movie. Like, this is now no games. We're going to see some characters die, and we lose some of our favorite characters right off the bat. So, kind of leading to that, again, I just really want to stress the Hulk gets his ass beat. He's so affected by Thanos beating him up so bad. We really don't see the Hulk much of any of the film. We see Bruce Banner more than we do the Hulk, which is another thing that I'm excited about the future is this whole dynamic between Bruce Banner and Hulk. Like, is the Hulk ever going to come back out? Is it just Bruce? So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where they kind of go with that. But again, we lose some pretty pivotal characters at the beginning of this film, which I thought was pretty interesting. So then we go from, we see Thor and Hulk sit down to Earth. We see him talking to Doctor Strange and Wong, and then we also introduced to Tony Stark and Pepper, and just kind of that beginning of the movie was pretty awesome. But an interesting thing that I really wanted to point out was Pepper Potts and Tony, their conversation there about he had a dream about being pregnant. I wonder, is that
gonna come into fruition? Or
because I know when and this is kind of fast forwarding, but when he's on that ship from Ebony Maw, he's talking to Pepper, and she says something like, "Tony, I need to tell you something." The phone kind of disconnects. I wonder if there's anything there.
I didn't catch that. I heard her say, "Please come back." Like, please come back. But okay.
Who knows? She might have a baby there. But anyway, I just want to talk on that one scene. How awesome was that scene? Seeing, first off, the interaction between Iron Man and Doctor Strange. Yeah. The band. It's something we've been leading up to. I was excited for this film.
They're just both so like pompous and just
arrogant characters.
Very arrogant.
Characters, but very arrogant.
But it was very funny to see them interact
for the very first time. Yeah. And then you see Spider-Man coming in the mix, and the Doctor, that whole battle. I mean, the movie is just so awesome as far as just the epicness, the action, the CGI was so great. But we get our really first true battle scene in New York, and I just thought that was just so cool to open up the movie like that. Then we kind of, and the way we're going to do this review too, we're going to talk about different groups. So we introduce Doctor Strange, we have Spider-Man, you have Iron Man kind of doing their thing, but then we go to Thor. We see what happens with Thor after his spaceship blows up, and then we're introduced to some of my favorite characters, the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, it kicks in.
And of course, they open them up with just great song, and it was good.
It's just so great. And then you see the banter between Thor and Star-Lord when they first, the whole interaction of Thor obviously being a god and people being amazed by him, Drax calling him not a dude but a man, and Gamora being all interested in Thor and his muscles. I just thought that scene was just so well. And
funny.
And again too, and I want to talk too about just highlights of my character. Thor really was, out of all the Avengers, he really had a through line, and I just really love how we have now gotten the best version of Thor, and it kind of kicked off. I know a lot of people say Thor Ragnarok, but really Joss Whedon in the first Avengers kind of gave Thor a little bit more comedic moments. The whole low-key killed 100 people in the last 2 days. Well, he's my stepbrother. Kind of that comedy kind of played out. You saw a little bit of that in Thor 2, The Dark World, but really, I think Joss Whedon kind of injected that comedy. Yeah. And then Taika Waititi took that, with Thor Ragnarok. I just love the character of Thor. And
they make him relatable. And,
very much so. I mean, he's a god. He gives us his age. We know he's 1,500 years old, but he's a young man in the sense of, compared to Odin, his dad. But I really thought that Thor and the Guardian stuff was probably my favorite stuff in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Him and Rocket and Groot, their side mission was just so great. Seeing Peter Dinklage, if you guys are Game of Thrones fans, it's just so cool that, he is a shorter person in real life, but I thought it was cool that they kind of gave the spin on a dwarf. He's a giant. I really liked his cameo, but really I think that was really the biggest standout was kind of Thor and the Guardians. What do you think about just that kind of dynamic that we got with them?
I loved it. Yeah. Thor, I've been a fan of Chris Hemsworth for quite some time, but the first two Thors, when I first saw him, I think I was more into them because of him, and then after seeing the third one, I realized how much I really disliked the first two
compared to the third.
So it brought something new flavor, which I thought was great. But like I said, they make him relatable. I mean, he has a moment where he just is basically he's alone, he doesn't have anyone.
That conversation with him and Rocket, really,
and I think we always look at Thor as this god, and now he's vulnerable.
Yeah, he doesn't have a family.
He doesn't, and he also doesn't have his hammer.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So it's he is just.
He's broke. I mean,
his life is in shambles.
Yeah. And I love that the Russos took Thor. This is their first time having Thor in their movies. Obviously, they had Captain America with Winter Soldier and Civil War, and they've got to play with all the tools in Civil War with Iron Man and even introducing Black Panther and Spider-Man. But I know I was watching an interview with the Russo Brothers. They were excited about having Thor, and they really had a good time with him. Again, you look at Thor as, like you said, this god, but he's broken down in this film. He's lost everything. Like you said, his hammer was gone in Thor Ragnarok. So I really did enjoy that.
Yeah, I think I had the most fun with Thor and the Guardians.
Yeah, and then that leads us to our other crew, which I don't want to go into negatives, but if you guys know me, if you follow us on Instagram or watch our Stardust, I'm a Captain America fan to the death. Not necessarily in the comics, but in the MCU, Chris Evans as Captain America is my favorite Avenger, and he really wasn't given that much to do, which I'm okay with. We have 3 Captain America movies. He's been in 2 Avengers prior to this, and we're going to see more of him in the future as far as Avengers 4. But, he wasn't given that much. But you have Cap, Black Widow, you have Scarlet Witch and Vision, which, by the way, that scene was pretty cool. Seeing Scarlet Witch and Vision kind of you seen their relationship
trying to normalize their relationship, but then realizing we're not
normal, guys. Yeah, and I actually prefer what the MCU has done with this relationship versus the Hulk and Black Widow, which I thought was kind of forced, kind of came out of left field. But I really did feel,
it seems they have more relatable.
Real. Yeah, because they both were created by the Power Stone or the Mind Stone with Age of Ultron. So I really enjoyed that kind of dynamic. But seeing Cap come in fighting the Black Order was really cool scene. But you get Cap, Wakanda, that whole thing. Did you like that whole dynamic with Wakanda and Black Panther and Iron Man? I know they weren't really pivotal as far as the storyline, but what did you think about that dynamic, that crew?
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah. I was also a little bummed. I think Captain America will probably see more in the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
But he wasn't in it very much.
Very much, yeah.
Neither was Black Panther.
No, I mean they were the.
I guess we did just get like a full 2-hour movie, yeah. But I was expecting a little more because they had in the trailers they had like Shuri like making a little jokey joke and. Yeah. Obviously, like a big battle was in Wakanda, so I was under the impression that we were going to get more of him.
Yeah.
And we didn't.
Yeah, which we'll talk about what we got instead, which I think worked. But yeah, it were some again. I think Black Panther was such a great movie and a great character and everything that came from Wakanda, and also like I said, Cap, I'm a huge fan. But also we didn't get much for Falcon, War Machine. I still think that they all had
those
moments.
Are kind of characters that I don't really care if they're not in it a whole bunch.
Right.
Like, I feel like their part is to play a small part.
Oh, secondary.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Black,
so, like, that I wasn't as bothered with.
Right, like Okoye is, second fiddle to Black Panther. War Machine is second fiddle to Iron Man, as well as, Falcon.
Now, Okoye, though, I want more of her.
I mean, she had very, very funny moments. The Starbucks moment you see in the trailer, and also she has a comment where Scarlet Witch is watching the Vision. And the whole time she's upstairs, and then she comes down and does her whole Wanda witch stuff, and this is like she was up there the whole time. I mean, she has some really good moments, Which kind of leads into. I just want to talk a little bit about the deaths that we get, and not the entire death. We'll talk about that later, but the pre-snap death, which is Loki, Idris Elba character. I think his name is Handel. I can't remember his name right now. Vision's also dead before the pre-snap, and then also I think the biggest death and the most heart-wrenching death, as far as how it played out, was Gamora. So the question I have for you is, do you think those characters are coming back?
I do.
You do? You think all of them, or you think all of them coming back, or maybe one or two? What do you, as far as like, so if we think about how, I think Idris Elba character, I think
Idris Elba, really I do think
he's been in all the Thor movies, but he hasn't been a pivotal character like he is in the comic books.
Now in the third one though, he really without Idris Elba in that third one, things wouldn't have worked out. He was able to rescue the Asgardians. So he did play a really big role. I love Idris Elba, again, he's almost not even a secondary character. He kind of is even further down than that.
Well, I mean, he plays an important. I mean, he's the one that gets Thor from
the gatekeeper
and
all this stuff. Yeah. So that was a bummer.
Yeah, I think he's
but
gone,
I would agree with that. Gamora, and again, this might be, it's just me wanting her to come back, but I don't think that's over. Just because Guardians, like, that it's so much newer than, like, Captain America, Iron Man, and things like that, that I just can't really foresee them just killing her off. That's such a big death for the Guardians, and the Guardians we're going to continue to see them. Like that's not done. So I don't think she's done. Some things are just telling me that probably low-key is done
for good.
But also a part of me doesn't want him to be, and another part where I just feel like he might not be is I really feel like Thor Ragnarok was like a new beginning for Thor, like the Thor movie. So I don't know.
But I mean, at this point, Loki, is he a villain? Do you really call him a villain? Because he saves so many people.
But he's a wild card, and he keeps it spicy.
I mean, how many times has he died, too? He died in Thor 1, Thor 2. I mean, he's died. We've seen him.
I'm hoping he comes back. I'm hoping him and Gamora come back. And then Vision...
we see Shuri, she takes out most of that stuff and puts his AI into this new system. So there is possibility.
Hoping he comes back too, because his love story with Scarlet Witch,
it played out pretty well. But I will say, so you say you want all these characters back, minus I think we're in agreement that Idris Elba character is probably done for. But for me, there are some characters I think should stay dead, just because I want the stakes to stay.
Gamora.
I think Idris Elba character. I think Loki needs to die, because again, I think they've done a good job of showing he's a villain. And then over the last few movies, he's now, kind of in that good
Thanos
spot.
said he was gonna... I mean, that was like, all right, you're gonna die. So
maybe. And Thanos told him in Avengers, if you don't give me the Tesseract, there's no preface you can hide. And he, lived up to that. But I think there are certain characters that need to stay dead, just because, again, one of the biggest gripes of comic books is they die in one moment and then they come back. And it's just like, just stay dead, keep the stakes high enough. But I do want to see Gamora back, because I think she plays a part, you know, she obviously, which is another great reveal, we get Red Skull back, but I think that Gamora dying, I think she's still going to play a big part into the soul gem, as far as her soul being in the gem, and if they find a way to manipulate that, they might be able to get her back. And this goes more into the comics, because when the soul gem takes place, they're put into this other world, and they can be retrieved. So I think Gamora will be making a comeback. I think Peter was going to go to that planet, maybe in Guardians 3, to get her soul back, and we'll see how that plays out. But that was a really great scene, because, I mean, again, you get the cameo from Red Skull, and then you see Thanos crying, and Gamora's like, haha, you know, kind of making fun. Like, do you really care? Do you love anything?
And then you kind of saw it come full circle, because you saw Gamora kill Thanos, and obviously she didn't really kill him, but
which
she
was a
cried.
great scene.
I mean, there was a lot of emotion, even though like he's been this terrible person. That's been her dad.
That's her dad, yeah. And that's what we talked about in the car. It's just like she was taken at a young age, and she knows he's an evil person. At the same time,
and it's been built up for so long. Like we've always been told like that was his favorite daughter, you know. And
in Guardians, it mentions, you know, you alienate my favorite daughter when he's talking to Ronan. So yeah, there is a relationship. So
I mean, there's the drama with her and the sister. So it's like you know that there was something there. Yeah, sure. So it was interesting to see. But then he like kills her.
He said there's nothing that's going to stop him, and he pushes her over the edge and kills Gamora. I thought that was just such a beautiful scene, which kind of leads into my next point too, as far as just the weight of the deaths. I mean, again, pre-snap, I just think that the way that the Russo Brothers have handled that is just so, it was just beautifully done, in my opinion. Which leads into our next point, as far as, you know, after we find out Gamora has died now, we're kind of jumping all over the movie, but, you know, we're on Titan. We see Thanos against, you know, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and we get some stuff with some Doctor Strange, which is just so great when he's like 1,000 Doctor Strange trying to get the glove. That scene was just great. That was dope, but, you know, let me fast forward before we get to that point, or rewind, but I want to talk a little bit about the Black Order, as far as, other than Thanos, which we're going to talk about, but the Black Order I thought were pretty cool. I think the two standouts, though, was Ebony Maw, which was the guy that was like, you are all dying in front of Thanos. Yeah, Squidward character. And also Proxima Midnight. I thought those two were standouts in the Black Order, but I want to talk a little bit about Ebony Maw. Did you like him was that your favorite Black Order character? Did you really connect to any of them?
I didn't like them. They were annoying. They're like just little minions. I'm like, just get away. Yeah. But I understood their purpose. I just didn't know.
But I just wanted to highlight, I did like the Black Order, the CGI of them, and to me, the two standouts were great. But going back to our scene on Mad Titan, or in Titan, you see Star-Lord kind of lose it. You know, they have the moment where they almost get the gauntlet off, even though I think Thanos would have eventually got it back from them. But we see, you know, he tells Gamora that he killed, or he tells Star-Lord, or Thanos tells Star-Lord that Gamora's dead, and we see he can't handle it. It reminded me very much of like Civil War, when Tony Stark found out that Winter Soldier killed his parents, Bucky killed his parents, and the main mission was to get Zemo, but he couldn't. If you find out, if you put it, I mean, it's a movie, it's a, you know, comic book movie, but if you put yourself in that position, you find out that, you know, he just killed the love of your life. That is a natural reaction. So do you think Peter is at fault? That's what the question I had. Do you think Peter Quill, Star-Lord, is at fault by losing his emotions and attacking Thanos at that moment?
I mean, no, because it's a movie and they had to do something. Right. There's no way, like you said, there's no way that they would have gotten
the stone or the gauntlet.
The gauntlet. So there had to be something to like
to trigger that. For sure. And also too, I mean, keep in mind, there's so much in this movie. I love this movie, is just so great. But we see Doctor Strange, he has that moment which you thought was kind of a little silly when he was like stripping out. But he says there's one outcome, and I think that was part of his vision. That obviously he knew that was going to probably happen. So I can't blame all of the destruction, the annihilation. Well,
like I told Elliot, it was a little frustrating because like at times it was like they were just giving him the damn stones. It's just like, oh, here you go.
Especially, you know, we see Doctor Strange give him the time stone, but I think Doctor Strange even says to Tony, this is a long game. So I think there was intentions about. I think he might still have a hex on the time zone or the time stone, but I think.
But even like with the Tesseract, it's like low key.
He wanted to save his brother.
He wanted to save his brother, but it was just like still, it's just like, I'm thinking greater good. I didn't want to see Thor go, but I guess he would have got it anyway. But if you're just like giving it up, it's just like, Jesus.
Yeah, and also too, one thing that I really, in this again, it's a 2.5 hour movie, but we see that Thanos has the Power Stone, which we saw, the Power Gem, which we saw in Guardians 1. They gave it to the Nova Corps, but we don't see him, take that off of Xandar. I wish maybe that would be a deleted scene, but again, this is a 2 hour movie and there's a lot to unload. Right. But again, I just want to talk about, so you don't think that it's to blame of Peter Quill? You think that it would have just happened eventually? He would have got this stone.
I mean, he would have gotten it eventually.
For sure.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have done what he did.
Yeah,
he could have waited, but he reacted on his emotions. On the news, and
which, I mean, and another thing too, their relationship, you got to keep in mind as far as the time and his reaction. So, since some people might think you had Guardians 1, 2, and they where this relationship has built, but if you think about it in chronological order, Guardians takes place in 2014, and they're in space, so time is completely different in space. Right. So Guardians 1 and 2 take place like literally within months, and the next time we really see the Guardians is 4 years later. So that relationship between Gamora and Peter, we see on the ship when she tells him, "I need you to kill me," and they love each other. So I think that again, Marvel has done just such a great job of building these relationships. Minus again, I didn't like the Hulk and Natasha relationship, but every other relationship has really worked for me. But so we see the battle take place. Thanos gets the stone. He fights Iron Man, which I thought to me personally, I might be wrong, but I thought the Iron Man, the new nanotechnology, was probably the coolest I've seen Iron Man ever do, because he was just, the nanotechnology was adapting to what's going on. I thought that was such a cool scene. And then your prediction was you thought Iron Man was going to die in this film, and I thought Captain America. So I'm like,
and I was almost right.
Yeah, he stabs Iron Man or Tony Stark. They have a moment where he's like, "I know who you are, Stark," which is a pretty interesting line. That how does he know him? Again, he did have the Mind Stone, which probably gives him knowledge of just like every person on Earth. But I thought that was an interesting line. But he stabs Tony. Doctor Strange gives him the stone to spare his life, which is a great callback to earlier in the movie. Doctor Strange tells Tony, "I'm not going to save you or Spider-Man if it comes to it. I'm going to save the stone." So, but I just thought that I thought we was going to lose. Did you think that Iron Man was going to die when he got? Yeah. And it kind of like, it kind of shook me at that moment, because it was just like, this is the OG.
And I mean, I thought he would be the one, since exactly what you said. Yeah. He was what kind of started everything off. Right. Kicked the Marvel series off.
He did. So shout out to Robert Downey Jr. So we see that he doesn't die. Doctor Strange gives him the stone and tells him a lie. This is the end game. But then we see Thanos, and we'll wrap up here, but Thanos goes back to Wakanda, and that battle, before even Thanos comes, one of my favorite shots in probably the MCU is when Thor comes, and his whole thing with Peter Dinklage's character was great, but when he comes back with Stormbreaker and destroys like so many of the Outriders, I think they're named, the little creatures in the end. That was just such a great shot, because he had Rocket on his, I don't know if you noticed, he had Rocket on his shoulder and Groot there. Yeah. And also prior to that, Groot. I love
adorable.
Yeah, him being a teenager was so great and so funny. I am Groot. Hey, I just thought it was just so great. But anyway, and also I am Groot in Captain America line. I am Steve Rogers, who's so funny.
That was cute.
But such a badass moment when you have Black Panther and Captain America running towards the fight, and then it was just so much greatness. Yeah. But let's just talk about that fight on Wakanda. We get another emotional moment. Wanda taking out Vision. Again, we see this relationship play out throughout the last few movies, and most pivotally, Scarlet Witch gets a really good through line. That was an emotional moment, but I just knew when he had that time zone or time gem that he was gonna, take the stone out of the Vision head. Did that emotional scene work for you when we see her go through all that emotional time taking out Vision, and then for him just to
that was tough. That was really sad.
That was. And I thought too.
And even him, like, he was like trying to relate to her. Yeah. He was like, I know how you feel, but then I'm going to bring him back and kill him right in front of you. Thanos, yeah, that was a pretty pivotal moment. He just does his thing.
Yeah, and we see also too within that Wakanda fight again, we see more Bruce Banner. He couldn't Hulk out, but he ended up taking out that one Black Order member. We also see Thanos just literally tossing the Avengers aside and running towards Black Panther or whatever. Tony, we see for a moment my boy Cap trying to stand up to Thanos, but he just knocks him out, and Scarlet Witch. So that moment when you see Thor put the Stormbreaker in his chest, and Thanos says one of the badass lines in MCU history, "You should have went for the head." And then that moment happens where he snaps.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk to you about, so we talked about the pre-snap, who we think we want to come back or don't want to come back. But now, I don't want to say obvious. I think one of the biggest things a lot of people complain about is just like, well, not complaining about, but we live in a time now where we know the Avengers is coming out next year. So in our mind, when you see that scene, you're like, Black Panther's not going to die, because obviously Black Panther 2, Spider-Man's, all this stuff. But I'm just thinking of the Russo brothers, and I want to give them credit. If we put ourselves in, like, I think of, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. Back then, people didn't know that they were going to be sequels to certain movies. And there wasn't insider knowledge. There wasn't Twitter. There wasn't people sneaking on set with their smartphones.
Right.
So in that moment, when you think Han Solo is gone and he's frozen and carbonite and taken off to space, people were on the edge of their seat and not knowing what was happening. So I'm thinking in this moment, there's two sides of the coin. Us knowing that there's going to be a future film and we know these characters being back, but if you just think about, let's say you were never introduced to any Marvel film and you saw Black Panther die, Spider-Man die, I just wonder how that person, if you're out there, let us know in the comments, how did you feel about that scene, about them just vanishing? Again, I know you know that there's
for me, I legit, like, for some reason, I thought that we would have, like, an extra 30 minutes to the movie.
To get them back.
And then I was like, oh, this is over.
Yeah, literally 5 minutes we see Thanos on the farm.
And I cried. The scene, what really got me was
and we were on the same page,
Spider-Man and Iron Man, when Peter like grabs him.
He's a kid.
And it's almost like he's a father figure to him. Right. Like Tony has done so much and influenced him so much.
Right.
And you even see like he gets the new suit in the movie. It's like,
Tony, he didn't even want him on space.
He
wanted to have him go back to Earth.
So it was just so emotional. And that had me crying. But I've never been to a movie theater where it was so quiet.
Maybe A Quiet Place was quiet, but in that moment.
In that moment, it was so quiet. Yeah. And then as like the credits are rolling, obviously we all know, like, okay, we're going to stay.
There was one person that left, but
you hear these sniffles.
Yeah.
I saw this girl like wiping her face, and like it was just so emotional. But for me, I looked over at Elliot and I was like, they're geniuses. Like, this is so smart. Like, this is great.
Take away all the new Avengers, all of the people that we love, the Guardians, Peter Quill, Drax.
But in my mind, I'm thinking there's no way that they can stick to this story.
But that's the question I have for you. Was that because you know that there's sequels ahead?
Well, that's what I told you. I leaned over to Elliot because, of course, like, I kind of had to give him emotional support because he is more vested in this than I am.
Again, follow us on Instagram. I did the Road to Infinity. I watched all the movies, and I told him, I said, Elliot, like, Black Panther just came out. The movie, because at the end of the day, all of this is about money. Like, they're not going to kill characters off that is going to make them money. Like, Black Panther, all that money it made, and they're just going to kill him off. Get out of here. Yeah.
Not going to happen. Same with Star-Lord. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy. There's no way that they're going to kill Star-Lord and Gamora.
Bucky's gone.
Spider-Man.
They killed
Bucky.
Yeah, but that's but
now had it been flip the script and had it been like
America.
Iron Man, Captain America, then for me it could have been more real. At any rate, though, I thought it was genius. Yeah. I thought it was the best thing that they could have done. I'm so glad that they didn't do it the other way around with Iron Man and Captain America. Because, God, they got a reaction out of whoever went and saw that movie.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing for me going into Avengers 4, which we don't know the title of, we don't know what the synopsis is, obviously, but we do know Thanos will return as well as the original Avengers. But I think the biggest thing for me is just like, okay, we know these characters are coming back, but I guess the biggest thing is how are they going to come back? So again, to your point, we know that even Black Panther, Spider-Man's going to get their sequels, but and Doctor Strange also went. But it's just a matter of how are they going to come back. We know that we're going to get a callback to the original because, again, like Morgan's point, they left the original Avengers alive for a reason. So there's going to be a role reversal where the old Avengers
like the soul thing. Like, do you have to give a soul to get a soul back?
Exactly.
My niece had brought up like the reality stone because the whole throughout the movie we get a lot of shots where it's like this, like your perception and then what's actually reality. So could that be something to do with it? But I will say humbly that in my opinion, I'm going to give it like 99% 0.9% that these characters are coming back. Do I think we're gonna?
It reminded me of Leftovers. If you guys ever seen Leftovers, HBO, phenomenal show. Also, Proxima Midnight was a character. I can't think of her name right now, but she was in Leftovers. But that reminded me of Leftovers when those people disappear, especially when you get the little teaser, which we'll talk about.
I mean, I do think that we will lose someone.
I think multiple.
I don't think that it's just gonna, and I think it's gonna be big. Yeah. But I do think that Star-Lord will come back, even if Gamora doesn't. I do think he will. Black Panther is Strange, like Iron absolutely,
Man, or,
for sure. I totally forgot to bring up Doctor Strange. We've only gotten one movie from him.
He was great.
There was no freaking way. No freaking way. Spider-Man, same.
Yeah, and I mean another thing I just want to touch on too before we wrap up. Some questions I may have. No, we'll wrap up. This has been a long video, but this is such an awesome movie. But I want to talk a little bit about Thanos. I want to give Marvel credit. I think, the biggest thing, and again, follow us on Stardust. You'll see my reactions to the movies, read our reviews. But half the movies, one of the biggest gripes about most of the Marvel movies is the villains. They were kind of either they're not developed or the motivation wasn't there. Or, again, Marvel, their thing is we want to focus on our heroes. You go to the movie, go see heroes, not villains, unless you're a bad person. I don't know. You root for. I mean, I root for villains every now and then, but at the end of the day, you want to see the heroes prevail and save the day. So, yes, I'll give Marvel that. But there's some characters like Thor: The Dark World. The villain was terrible. Iron Man 2, the Whiplash guy was terrible. So there's been some bad villains.
Let's just be honest, though. The past 3 Marvel movies,
that's what I was going to get to. They have been knocking.
They started us off with Thor Ragnarok.
I would say actually Spider-Man. I thought Vulture was a really
that is true.
Michael Keaton
yes,
did a great job.
You're right. Spider-Man. I totally forgot about that one. In the like. Finding out that he was a villain in Spider-Man was, or the dating,
reveal,
the
that
father, that reveal was so good. Hella amazing.
Yeah.
And then we had
Killmonger,
which is my favorite
still today,
Marvel villain.
I guess that was a question to ask
Absolutely
you.
my
Thanos,
favorite.
Yeah.
Thanos, though, I really
did he live up to that? I mean, 10 years. We saw him in Avengers, the first one in 2012, and you see him in a Guardians movie, the little, all that.
Yeah.
But, and then
I think I'd still like a little more of a backstory on him.
I mean, we get his motivations. He wants to balance the earth. It's not necessarily genocide, because genocide, I think, again, from definition, is they pick out certain cultures.
To me, just doesn't make sense. So.
Well, he's balancing the earth. He doesn't, and if
in his mind, he thinks it's right.
Right, which makes a great. That makes the best villains when they think they're right. They think they're motivated. Like Killmonger, he thought he was.
Well, he thinks he's doing something good.
Right, until they murder people, like Thanos and Killmonger does. But again, genocide. I don't think he was, because again, if you look at the movie, like when he took out Gamora's people, it wasn't about poor people or rich people. He just took. It was split half and half. Doesn't matter who you are.
And he even said to Gamora, like, have you been back? It's amazing.
Yeah,
like
exactly. So to me, I think Thanos, and again, shout out to Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler.
Killmonger takes the cake for me.
I think Thanos, because again, this is 10 years in the making. I mean, and keep in mind, and this is different, but Killmonger versus anyone other than Black Panther. He beat Black Panther, but again, Black Panther defeated him in the end. But if Black Panther had the Avengers to take on Killmonger, he's done for.
Oh, sure.
Thanos took out the Avengers.
As far as power, yes.
He won.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the only villain that has won against the Avengers. That's why, to me, and I look at it in a different mindset. Not only did he have great motivations, but he beat the Avengers.
And I kind of like this new take, because they even did that in Thor Ragnarok. It's like Hela just completely booted them out of Asgard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, she technically, that's what made her a good villain too.
It is kind of, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's something very different from what we're used
to. And I
seeing.
think too, just seeing Thanos crying, killing Gamora, I just think that Josh Brolin, shout out to him, I can't wait to see him as Cable, but I think they just did such a great job at this villain. So I just wanted to take time to say, I think that he's the number one villain. Morgan thinks he's number 2, which is fine. But I just think that they accomplished something, which is a phenomenal villain, as we were promised to give. So just a couple rapid fire stuff that I just had questions for you guys. So and maybe you can answer these questions, but definitely leave it in the comments. Again, I want to know, when did Gamora and Nebula have that talk? The Gamora has the knowledge of where the Soul Gem is. How does she get that knowledge? How does she get the map? I wonder, is that going to play a part in Guardians 3 or anything in Avengers 4? I want to know, again, it's a small negative. I think this movie is a damn near a masterpiece, but me personally, I wanted more Captain America. But again, I think he's going to come back. We get that cameo from Red Skull. I would like to know, where did the people vanish to? Do you have it, is it another reality that they're in? Where did they go? Also, talk a little bit about that end credit scene, Captain Marvel. Number one, how dope is it? Because if you guys don't know, Captain Marvel will take place in the 90s. he has a pager. There's just so Marvel just gets it. They just knock it out of the park. I love that little tag at the end, and then Samuel Jackson, that's him and Maria Hill are disappearing. He says, "Mother," it's just so great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But I'm excited for Captain Marvel. I think it's going to be what Black Panther was to a certain culture, to certain people. I think again, this is the first Marvel female-led movie. I think it's going to have a little bit of that being represented on screen from a women's perspective. Wonder Woman. So I think it's going to blow out the park. I'm so excited about Captain Marvel. A big question I had though was Hawkeye. Everyone was crying about, oh, where's Hawkeye? He's not in the posters. He's not in the trailers. He's not in this movie at all.
Yeah.
They did mention that Hawkeye and Ant-Man on house patrol or house arrest, and they came to some agreement. So I don't want to say obvious, but I think that the obvious is he's going to come back in action because his family has probably disappeared. When the snap happens, I think Hawkeye is going to jump in action. He retired, but now that his family's gone, he's going to be like, okay, I need to unretire and kill Thanos for killing taking out my family.
Right.
Again, I thought that Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones. I really thought that was a pretty cool thing. But I would love to know if you guys did you like Peter Dinklage?
Yeah.
I think I asked. Okay. Yeah. I would love to know what you guys thought of that cameo. Again, we know that Black Panther coming back and all that. Again, I would love to know, do you guys think, as we discussed, the people that died pre-snap, are they gone? What's your opinions on that? Also, again, we talked about it in this discussion, but I think that we're in a position now where we have so much knowledge of what's going on behind the scenes that we know that those characters are coming back. But I would really love to know if anyone that you guys might know or that you might be this person. Did you go into this? Was this your first Avengers movie? Or was this your first Marvel movie? How did you feel about those deaths? How did you feel emotionally? And then other than that, I think, another question I had was, for those that watch the TV shows, there isn't much connection with Daredevil and the Netflix shows, but I wonder, will that snap affect any of those shows? Will, Jessica Jones be gone? Will Daredevil be gone? Will Punisher be gone after that snap? I wonder, will that affect the TV shows at all? I think that's a pretty interesting thing. But before we head off, again, I just want to touch a little bit on the Russo brothers being such great directors. They directed, I'm debating on where Infinity War lands, but Winter Soldier for the longest was my #1 film, and Black Panther came along and kind of switched that up. But you have Winter Soldier, Civil War, and now Avengers 3. I think they have become one of my favorite directors in the MCU, just directors in general. The brothers have come in and have just propelled Marvel to this other realm of just awesomeness, and I just really want to give a shout out. I know they're, they might be watching this, you never know, but Anthony and Joe Russo, great job of doing that. Kevin Feige, the writers of this movie, I think they did a great job. And I just want to also talk about 10 years in the making. You've seen all the Marvel movies. You have ones that you like more than others. But I think at the end of the day, this is unprecedented. When we're 40, 50, 60 years old, talk to our kids and grandkids about, when they made the Marvel MCU. This is unprecedented. You've never seen 19 films have all connectivity, great actors, great performance. So I think it was just, what are your feelings on the MCU? I know you bash on DC and all that, but do you just...
they know what they're doing. Yeah. That's all I have to say. They really know what they're doing. This movie was genius. Yeah. And I feel like over the past year or so, I've started to like them even more. Just with Spider-Man, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, and this. Yeah. So
shout out to MCU. Again, guys and girls, and all the creators behind this powerhouse. We're going to get Ant-Man and Captain Marvel in the fourth one, but kudos to you guys. I just really wanted to say that. So happy that you guys are doing a great job with this. And that's it. So I think I want to wrap up here with our score. So if you guys don't know, it's your first video watching our reviews, our scores in the description. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. I think it's a masterpiece.
I thought it was amazing. Yeah.
Now I think I still have to, again, I'm going to readjust this is only based on one viewing for both of us. I think right now it's probably #2, still behind Winter Soldier, because I think Winter Soldier is just such a great movie. But if I see Avengers again, which we hopefully will before it comes out on Blu-ray, it's right now #2. Where is it on your list?
I would say between 1 or 2.
1 or 2, because yours is Black Panther, right?
I love Black Panther. Yeah. So 5 out of 5 for me, as well as Morgan. Definitely in our top 2 of MCU films of all time, and also just films in general. When you take into account just superhero movies, I still have Dark Knight. And again, Winter Soldier, kind of that 1-2, but definitely is in my top as far as just what was done, characters that was juggled around, storylines. And that ending was so perfect.
That ending, the snap. We all predicted it, but it was like, they're not going to do it. And they did it.
Yeah.
So with that being said, guys, definitely let us know in the comment section. This is a spoiler-free review, so talk about all the spoilers in the comments that you guys want. Let us know what questions you have for us. Answer our questions. You know, the poll question right here is, do you think the people that were pre-snap will be dead officially and moving forward with MCU? So definitely answer that poll question. And like, share, comment below. Follow us on our social media accounts to continue this conversation. Stardust, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, subscribe to our channel. We will see you guys in the next video. And thank you guys for watching. Again, this was an incredible movie, and I want to end this video on a